Oh, it's my own damn fault that I've fallen for you. I know it's gonna take some time, but I will make you mine. I'll go the extra mile. I'll do what needs to be done until the race is won. I'll go the extra mile. If you don't love me now, you will love me later. Oh, we don't need.
Let's try that again, everybody, shall we?
Hello.
Welcome back to the battle for Wisconsin. Myself and Cooper Queen here with you for day 2 of the event as UW-Platteville takes on UW-Stevens Point. And how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How about you?
Doing good, doing good. No Magometa equals a fun tournament.
Yep.
We were just talking about that in the green room, but this should be a very important game actually between these two squads as we give a look at the standings after day 1 of the competition. Both of these teams not having the start that they were necessarily looking for, both under the playoff cutoff line currently, including those bye wins that everybody gets, 1-1 and 1-2 respectively.
Yes, it looks like they need to be in the upper half to make it to playoffs here.
Yeah, and that's what they'll be fighting. At least get a decent start to that because this is kind of the halfway point of this group stage. A loss today would be quite critical to their chances of making that playoff cutoff in Group A, which seems to be an absolute gauntlet so
Hmm.
far. But we're gonna have a quick look now at the Platteville roster.
Yes. Quite a full team, if I believe so.
Yeah, look at that. We got
Yes.
Thunder Thighs, Cal Phoenix on tank, and then Mommy Issues, which is we were laughing pretty hard about that one earlier. Will Benemy, Zinto on DPS, and then Kitty, GSF, Kata Rocks, and Starman on support. And you were just saying that having this kind of depth could be a big asset here for Platteville.
Definitely. They have more players to play around to whatever their strength is, and that could be a weakness for the other team.
That could be a great buff there for Platteville. And now looking over at the pointers of Stevens Point, you got Lemon, who will be the only tank that we see here, unless we get some off rolling going here for Stevens Point, and then Xwaz, Fryer, and Potato Pride on DPS, and then Conman, ACE, Gladys, Tuck Your Chin, and Nice ID all on the support line. We could be seeing quite a lot of support combinations.
Yeah, 5 different supports. Each of them could have their favorite character. They could be strength-wise, could switch up their different kind of play styles with that as well, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who we see at the beginning of this game and as we continue on. But the first map of the day, and no, it is not Lijiang, not everybody's favorite control. It is going to be Busan for our first one of the day. Well, we could see a little bit of variation here.
hmm I think with Busan, depending on which map we get in the trio, it depends on what kind of setup you kind of have. Like,
Yeah.
can't think of it, but the one that has the ceilings and everything, usually I feel like it's a little bit more rush getting the high ground, while downtown is much more open and you go straight through the middle.
Yeah, especially, downtown Sanctuary as well could be
hmm
more that the dive look that we've kind of been seeing, but kind of not. I think teams are still trying to figure out if it's working. But yeah, over on Mecha Base, rush, and even more rush to get to that high
Yes.
ground. Honestly, just curious with Maga meta dead, do they go Orisa? Do they go Junker Queen? Do they go Ram? If somehow to the gods above, if we have Reinhardt, that'd be quite a scene in this meta. But I
Yeah,
don't think we're gonna see it. But they at least have some variations available on tank.
definitely. And I feel like depending on what kind of tank they do as well would also do the other team counter swap that. Is that just something
Yeah.
they're going to be strong or weak against? It's going to be very interesting today.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. We have a PC restart here, so we're gonna be chilling here for just a few minutes. But yeah, this should be a really interesting one. I mean, we talked about it when looking at the standings. This is the third game, a third actual game that they're playing,
hmm
not including the bye week. Both these teams didn't have the greatest starts to the tournament yesterday. Platteville
No.
only played once, but they did lose. Stevens Point lost in two close ones. I believe it was a 3-2 to Whitewater and a 3-1 to Carthage College. So if you're Stevens Point, it's like, yeah, we lost to the two teams at the top right now, but it is still two losses that may keep you out.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how they're going to play against each other because we only see them on the bottom, but how do they stand next to each other is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, this may be one of the more critical games here going on in Group A. Group B is getting a little interesting as well. You got Madison, Southwest Tech actually standing up tall near
hmm
the top. UW Green Bay and WCTC got some work to do over there in their games today, but still, I would say pretty open for anybody to kind of enter into that playoff cutoff. But by the end of the day today, we may have a slightly more clear scene of what playoffs may look like.
Definitely. I feel like we're still way too early to figure out who's going to go where with what we've seen.
Yeah, you look at the overall structure here for the tournament. You can see four teams from each advance going into a double Elam bracket that'll start April 20th. And that'll be back-to-back weekends of matches. And I think that is when this tournament really is going to get into high gear, as that is going to be, the best of the best. And sometimes we were going in as, hey, thinking maybe Marquette could be one of those teams. They're
hmm
struggling right now in Group A. It's kind of been thrown up into the air, like who really is the favorite. And I don't think we honestly have one yet. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this tournament so far, is that there is no one dominant team. I think we got a bunch of teams that all have a pretty decent chance of winning this in this, inaugural event. And even though there's no prize money for it, it's like, hey, there
Yeah.
is a lot of bragging rights going into this. Like, hey, we want to be the
Yeah,
best in Wisconsin.
definitely being a bunch of like UW schools, we're always seeing,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
we're much better than this one. You gotta come over here, kind of thing. So looks like we're
yeah.
about ready to head into the game as well.
All right, I got the PC restart issue fixed. I know, weirdly enough, I know there's some issues yesterday too with some people's internet crashing. I know in the final stream to game of yesterday, we had somebody hitting 2500 ping in like
Oh,
the last
geez.
20 seconds of the game. It's like, well, a little too late, sadly, but we will be entering in, and it looks like we'll be downtown for our first.
Very interesting. See what kind of comps we're having today.
Right,
Looks like
so
yeah, we got a dive and a poke potentially. Oh, we're switching the Winston for Narissa.
I don't mind this here from either team.
No,
Platteville, it seems like Orisa is kind of sneaking back into the meta a little bit. So I don't mind that call. Actually, think I have the TP out for Platteville. Stevens Point, good all reliable, right? Like good all reliable. Go with the Ram Rush. That's it. And it's not downtown. We got baited a little bit. It is
oh.
actually Mecha base, which makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I think Ram's gonna be fairly strong in this map right here because of the shield, but Orissa's just the horse that won't stop. And here we have already going on the Orisa. Ram is trying to push through to get some damage, but also can't really get to sustain himself right there.
Yeah, struggling to sustain, but weirdly enough, nobody really falling as this battle for the high ground continues. Lamp is used, but
Oh, and there
finally
goes
Lemon will
Stevens
fall.
Point's tank.
That is quite a loss there, and it will be still nobody on point quite yet.
No, I feel like when it comes to like a point map like this, it's almost like deathmatch and then it's the point. You have to win the fight first to get that point.
And it looks like it will be Stevens Point who will be able to cap that point first. The pointers lock it down, and it will be actually the
Interesting.
Orisa now coming out from their side, realizing that, hey, we won the fight, but I don't know if it's because of the Ram.
No, definitely, but their tank went down first, so it's interesting that they kept going even without their tank there, which is very good for them because they were able to cap the point.
Yeah, it was a massive little bit there for them, and now Stevens Point, they're just going to hold onto this high ground, and Platteville struggling to get in so far.
This choke can be very hard since it's just one doorway. Oh, and the pulse bomb goes off.
What
There's,
a pick
ooh.
that is.
Yeah, this such a small room and such a small doorway. This choke can be very difficult for whoever's holding it.
Yeah, this could be quite a hard predicament here for the Pioneers to try and get through. As yeah, it's going to be extremely hard. You got the disruptor shot coming in from Fry, who will just be sending that in constantly towards the choke. But they do have some ults now to work with,
Definitely.
especially that window.
Yeah, Platteville's just building up and Rissig, oh, no points at all.
Yeah, nothing so far to their name. Blade is used as well, and they will not get anything from it.
Stevens Point's not holding up at all. They're just like, we can handle these ults. And just continues to go in.
Yeah, no biggie from their end. Tac visors used though from Zinto, and they find two, but it's sadly a little bit too little too late here for the Pioneers.
Definitely 80% cap. They only really have one more fight, and still on this choke, it could be very difficult.
And it will be Platteville is trying to figure out how they want to get over to this point. They're going to try and go underneath instead.
That could
nice
work
little
for them.
jab.
Yes. It's good about this map. Yeah, that top choke is always a place where everyone goes up first, but if it gets held there, there's different routes to take, which could either make or break that battle.
Yeah, it's going to be... The high ground is so important, but obviously the point is the end goal is... Oh, what it eats on the pulse bomb!
But is Steven Point still gonna just win this?
Yeah, to only be Stevens Point on top by the looks of it. Count Phoenix trying to fight for a chance here, but I think it's going to be seldom as, yeah, Platteville will fall, and it seems like Stevens Point should be able to win Mecca.
Unless they can get some kind of touch, which is going to be very difficult if they just all scatter in. And
Yeah,
there's
it's
the
gonna
first
be,
point.
yep. First point goes to Stevens Point. As Platteville, I just, yeah, they really struggled to get control of that high ground, and I don't think the pointers are really gonna complain.
Definitely, and just first map is always very difficult in general in my eyes because we don't know what the other team may be trying to do, but now that we see what kind of characters they're more comfortable with, they can make adjustments.
Yeah, the adjustments need to be made now for Platteville, and well, this is a pivot. Going over to the Junker Queen now,
Ooh.
will Cal Phoenix. Zinto as well. Over to the Widowmaker, which it can be playable on downtown. You
I
got
think
those
downtown
building
has some
tops you
good,
can work.
yeah, some good sight lines for the Widow. We're just seeing Kinzinto make those picks that they need.
Yeah, that might be. Let's see if it works here for Platteville. Hopefully, for their sake, it will. As Etty, there you go, first pick from Zinto on to Fry.
That could be very good. Oh, and their
yeah.
tank is also going down. This switch might be what they need. As
Yeah, nice little
Stevens
fight
Point
there.
starts to retreat.
That was a nice little fight win there for Platteville, and a nice change of pace that they desperately needed after how Mecha Base went. And yeah, this Widowmaker already making an impact.
Definitely flexibility in a player can be very good for a team. Oh, we get a Sombra now with the switch from the Tracer.
That feels targeted for Zinto. That feels a little targeted. See you go. Yeah, gotta just translocate up and almost.
Missed shot, but oh, and there goes the Widow. I've done this personally also, where it's just like, you know that Widow's gonna be a problem, so you have to get some way to deal with it. And sometimes it's just running them down and stuff. It's just
Yeah, sometimes like, we need to go with Sombra. Like,
Yep.
I'm a little more of a head-on approach, and it will force Zinto to swap. They will go back over to the Soldier, realizing that it's not worth it being the Sombra's punching bag.
Of course, Overwatch, I feel like, has been such a game where you have to switch to play to your strength and play against their weakness kind of thing. Counter swapping is such a huge thing, I believe.
No, I totally agree, and it's definitely been working so far for Stevens Point, as they will win another fight. It's just Zinto left, and they will run up for spawn to try and make sure they stay up. But Stevens Point able to win another fight, didn't have to use everything, and they still have that sound barrier if they want to try and have just a little bit of extra support during this fight.
It definitely, sound barrier can be played in two different ways. It can initiate the fight with it, or they can do it to save the fight. Depending on the playstyle and how fast you guys want to play also, I believe, is dependent on how you want to use it.
Yeah, I agree. They could, depending on how they want to push in. So far, they seem to be pretty content with just holding down the choke.
Definitely. Backing up onto the point now as, we get a pick on Zinto. Heard the Dragon Blade, got a Moira. Kind of a fair fight. Oh, and there goes their tank as well. Stevens Point is down 2, I think.
Yeah, this should be Platteville winning. That was an Ajax there for Tuck Your Chin. A little, that's unfortunate. The beat that we talked about so much, we hyped it up, it doesn't even get to land. Cal Phoenix takes them out, and that was a huge turning point. But now Stevens Point, they still only need to really win one fight.
Yeah.
They got it to 88%.
One fight can win them this if they can win this fight, but Platteville has the point. They just have to tuck her down and keep it.
Yeah, it will be Zinto, though, falling really early, and Cal Phoenix looking for the Terra Surge.
We got an
instead.
EMP.
They get EMP'd.
Platteville losing almost all their players.
Yeah, they lose everybody. I think Zinto just died so early that team kill doesn't actually go through, but yeah, I don't know if anybody does touch. Zinto's trying to go by coast.
Plus, Stevens Point has 2 ults that they can save this. Oh, and there it is. UW Stevens Point wins the first match.
Yeah, Stevens Point wins map 1 2-0. here on Busan, and it was Platteville just not really having an answer for this Orisa comp that seems to be more meta by the day.
Yeah.
Play of the game, we'll go to the Moira, which, we like a little bit of a battle Moira
Yeah.
action sometimes. I don't know if Platteville really appreciated it too much, but it will be Stevens Point winning the first map of the day. And the only thing with Stevens Point is that each of their losses so far during this tournament have not been 3-0s, right? It was a 3-2
No.
to Whitewater. It was a 3-1 to Carthage. That 3-2 to Whitewater especially painful. They were up 2-1, lost the final 2 maps.
That's unfortunate.
This is what I think might be like, hey, we want to put this series away. We're going to start well. They just got to make sure they finish well.
And what do you do against an Orisa? I feel like Orisa as just a character has so many resources, and there's just not a lot of ways to counter her.
My thing would be either you run a Mei to try and isolate, which even then, yes, she can pop gold. It can be a little difficult, but you're getting a cooldown out. That, or you just have to basically ignore her and just go for everyone else, which is easier said than done. A giant horse-looking thing.
Yeah,
charging at you,
definitely.
it can be a little hard to ignore.
Even if that horse peels for their backline as well, like it, depending on how well they play and what their callouts are, could definitely change the way they play.
Yeah, it definitely can. We got some quick little score updates from some of the other games going around. UW Milwaukee's up 1-0 over SWTC, and Stout is up 1-0 over Green Bay. So the host university for this tournament. By the way, thank you, Stout, for everything you guys have been doing this tourney. But nice little start for Stout to begin the day.
Yes, definitely.
You like to see it, as we'll be getting ready here for map number 2 in this series, and curious to see what Platteville elect to go to. It will be Circuit Royale. So that tells me we're sick of Rush. Let's play Poke.
Definitely. And this map, I feel like, is also a double hit scan to see if we can see those hit scan kind of players today. But we can definitely play at different styles. Poke is probably one of the strongest.
Yeah, as we saw it a little bit on Downtown before Zinto got definitely focused by the Sombra, and that was definitely a very targeted counter pick. Hey, they're comfortable on Widow. They're comfortable on Snipers.
Definitely, yes.
So I think this just screams to me like we want to put their DPS in a much more favorable position and try and win the fight there instead of the front line, because if Busan showed, that may not be a recipe for success in this series.
Definitely. Of course, they want to play to their strengths. Even if they're also strong, they might be stronger, kind of thing.
Yeah,
definitely. If we get Widows, see who's the better Widow. First one to get pokes can turn around the battle, definitely.
Oh, it can be massive, the Widow 1v1. Sometimes we see Ashe on here as well, or
yes,
it always seems to be a Widow plus either like Ashe or Hanzo or Soj sometimes. So I'm curious to see who we do end up seeing, is it will be actually a swap here. A little bit of a swap for Platteville. Zinto was swapped out after pulling out the Widow on Busan. That's an interesting one here. I'm guessing it's maybe just a preset comp that they have for this map, but yeah, definitely a few changes. There'll be mommy issues and Will now for that DPS line.
Of course, we are also getting a Zen Mercy for this comp as well.
Interesting. Okay.
And over on Stephen Point, a Mei is also going to be interesting.
I don't mind the Mei. It's a little bit awkward on this map, especially this phase, because when you get to third phase, yes, it can be really nice because it is a lot more closed in. But here in first and second phase, it is basically a shooting range. So that Mei, unless they hit a lot of long range icicles, it's going to be more just to make Thunder Thigh's life a little more difficult.
Definitely, but Mei can do the damage if she can get her hits. Her walls can also determine the fight as well. Of, hey, we want to go this direction, I'm going to block you off over here kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it could definitely, especially if, Kato Rocks and Team G, they lose sight of their Sigma, could be rough. But that time, Walls is used defensively to make sure that their Sigma
Walls
lives.
is almost like a second shield on this lineup. They're stuck in that room, which could be kind of bad for them as Tank goes down, Baptiste goes down. Stevens Point is at a low at the moment.
Yeah, Stevens Point taken out. Platteville gets some stabilization. I'm not sure if the
Stalling
current
for
count for
time,
Stevens
yeah.
Point will work, but hey, they stalled for almost a minute, and they should have plenty of time to at least utilize this bridge, utilize the high ground to try
Definitely.
and win this next fight. But mommy issues on Echo, a little bit of a change up
Yes.
here for Platteville.
I think Echo would be strong with such high walls and everything. The buildings will definitely give good coverage if they play it smart. Also, Sojin's matchup on both sides also.
Yeah, I don't mind this here actually for both sides. This Windows
No.
used will get
Window
shut
is
down.
very good right there.
Yeah, that's a very good window, and that Zen is yeah, left all alone.
Blocking off the Sigma, seeing if can't get that final pick. And Thunder Thighs goes down.
Yeah, nice little fight there for
Yes.
Stevens Point. Just like, hey, stabilize a little bit, figure out how they want to play. And as I say that, Mommy Issues and X will both trade. So it's like, okay, a little bit of a gentleman's way to go out, just taking each other out of the process.
Definitely.
Yeah.
These next couple meters, they could definitely pop one or all ults off of UW-PLATTEVILLE. They all have ults, while Steven Point's only got 3 of them. But
Yeah.
oh, we got a
Baptiste
Baptiste dupe. Definitely
That's
good to
actually-
save that
wow.
for the May ult.
Yeah, they just popped the lamp on their Sig to make sure they stay up. Transcendence was used, but now it's Flux the other
Oh,
way,
the
and
Flux
their
kills-
actual Bap dies.
They're down a healer.
That is a rough spot to be, and yeah, it's just going to be a reset here for Platteville with a minute left.
Definitely. They got really close to the point, but they're just losing on that corner.
Yeah, just can't seem to push through, and it can be historically a difficult spot to be in. It seems like Mommy Issues and Waz will, go for round 2 in the duel, and this time neither going to make it through. But yeah, this is a really rough spot here for Platteville, but they do have that window to work off of yet again.
Yes.
They just gotta make sure they don't get punished this time from the window on the other side.
Yep, each of them has 3 ults that could be used very well.
As Lamp
Oh,
used
Steven.
early.
Yep, Steven Points popped 2 ults, the Windows and the Sojourn ult. As Will copies with it, Steven Point with the Window and the Sojourn ult as well.
Window gets nothing from Cater Rocks as the wall comes down from Waz to block any of it and gives Stevens Point time to get away. 10 seconds now. This will be final fight, at least of this current time bank. And, we talked about all
May's
those
ult
ults.
is-
They're all
yep.
gone.
May's ult is almost here, and she can dictate this right there. Put it right on the point where they can't really touch without getting frozen. Except Zen saves it.
TMG, massive transcendence, keeps their Sigma alive and keeps and continues the chance here for Platteville. Duplication comes through from Mommy Issues onto the Soj. Trying to match Friar, but nothing to go for quite yet as the flank will get
Oh.
value 1 already. They almost get the second, and it seems like Platteville will not be able to get it, but they do get a kill. But yeah, they'll be fluxed off, and it's the final corner where Platteville are stuck.
That flex can be such a save on payload maps, because if you just get them off the payload, they can't do anything. They're stuck in the air.
Yeah, it was a rough spot to be in. That was, yeah, it's like, all right, so many ults and ults and ults. And for a long time, it was like, all right, everybody's kind of just sustaining. Nobody was really dying at that point. It's like, all right, we're all just going to kind of live here. And then it is, honestly, I thought the Transcendence from TMG was going to flip that for the Pioneers. It started to look that direction. And then all of a sudden, they just couldn't find the kills during those few seconds. Stevens Point is able to clean it up. And this can be a tricky spot for Platteville. But you got to think this is one of the most defender-sided maps in the entire game. They still have a chance here.
Definitely, the defense can set up around those corners and walls, while the offense just has to walk through it, which can be very difficult.
It can be incredibly difficult, and we'll see Platteville on the defense. They'll actually go for a May themselves. So realizing that, hey, it worked pretty well here for WASD on the Stevens Point defense. Might as well give it a try. Stevens Point, they'll currently at least elect to go the Lucio instead of the Zen, so not as much focus fire, but they should be able to speed around a little more.
Definitely. As long as we can get around the corners before they're able to either set up or reset up, could dictate this fight.
As well, that's a way to
Huge
start the
rock.
round.
Of course, they're gonna go up on that high ground to take out any defenses they have up there, stopping them on the stairway. Both tanks are down, but Stevens Point's got more characters as they back up UW-Platteville.
Yeah, it will be Stevens Point winning that first fight a little faster than Platteville did, as that disruptor shot from Fryer. It's like, all right, all of you back here, yeah, you're just gonna slowly tick her down, and that is a great fight win for Stevens Point. In reality, just need to win one more fight as long as the cart doesn't move too far back if they do lose one. So Platteville have to play perfect from here on out, and it's not like they really have any ults to try and work towards.
Nah, that Lucio, we see so much now, but it's just, if you like those faster fights, Lucio is a must for it.
Oh, it's a complete must just to speed around, and it will be, well, Lebanese will actually fall, so a chance here still for the Pioneers.
Stephen Points is backing up as they're trying to not die to reset here.
Yeah, a good little stabilization fight there for Platteville. It's like, okay, we still got a chance, and now TMG getting eerily close to that transcendence.
Definitely, Stephen Points has two ults to dictate if they want, while UW-Platteville is just about there on some of them.
Yeah, they were getting close to it, but yeah, Stevens Point, like I said, got the ult advantage right now. Will pop the Blizz, but they're going to sacrifice their life for it, and it only gets out the lamp.
Definitely, and the Mei will switch. Will switch from Mei to Tracer, maybe to hopefully match and just see if that Mei's not really working against such a fast comp.
It will be Stevens Point now, marching on in. Fryer again, they love this little side room. Able to get a few more kills. They got the overclock now to work with, and this may be a wraps on map 2.
Possibly. Zen's come and just try to get the point, but he could not touch in time.
Nobody gets there. Stevens Point 2-0 now on a series point here in this round 3 matchup, and TMG, they'll at least get rewarded with the play of the game from the Zenyatta. And this was actually, yeah, very beginning of the game here for Platteville, and just lining up the kills with the Discord orb as well, but just wasn't enough. And even though it was a better performance, I would say, from Platteville, just not enough yet. Just not enough yet to try and get that actual map win. But we have to wait and see. We're going to give them a few minutes here to figure out where they want to go for this very important map 3. We'll be right back after this break. And welcome back, everybody, to the Battle for Wisconsin, Day 2, Round 3. And Platteville and Stevens Point, well, Platteville is having a little bit of an issue right now with Stevens Point. Stevens Point is up 2-0 as we get ready for our third map. And, man, it's been a little bit of a tempo difference here, don't you think?
Definitely. I feel like with the last map with the Lucio and them rushing up to the upper area to just take down UW-Platteville, I feel like they just like playing the faster tempo than Platteville is used to.
Yeah, it seems like Platteville just maybe a little hesitant to try and match that tempo, especially on the maps that they were, especially on circuit, where they're like, "Oh, you want to play poke?" And it's like, "We can play poke, but fast." And that
Hmm.
was kind of the weird adaptation that Platteville weren't really sure how they wanted to mess with. We got a few little quick score updates as well. Milwaukee now up 2-0 over SWTC, and Stout is up 2-0 over Green Bay. So those series continue to kind of look like ours right now, is 2-0. We'll wait to hear more on the rest of the action. But as we get ready for map number 3, maybe this is where the Pioneers can get on the board. It is Suravasa, which
Saravasa, yeah.
sadly for them is speed, speed, and even more speed.
Speed is very important. These maps, the capture is so much like faster than just regular capture points, and once you capture, you're just running around the entire map. Speed is so crucial for this. So
Yeah,
definitely gonna see a Lucio for sure.
yeah, definitely gonna see Lucio. My guess is either the Orisa rush kind of comes back. I think we could see more of the JQ. JQ's always kind of been a sneaky good hero, especially on this map type. So I think if you're Platteville, go whatever's most comfortable. They've shown the JQ already, so maybe that's the direction they go to. Honestly, if you're Stevens Point, they're like, hey, you're feeling good. You know, you're up
Hmm.
2-0, but we talked about it earlier. They did lose 3-2 and 3-1 respectively in those series yesterday, especially in the Whitewater one. They were up 2-1 and kind of let it slip. So I have a feeling this is like, hey, we need to finish this off. Like, we need to finish the series off and don't let it be up to chance.
Definitely. They prove themselves that they're strong, and when they're feeling really good, it could be an ego boost that could give them the slip like they did the other day.
Yeah, especially like that kind of game burns in you a little bit, right? Like that game burns for a while. It's okay. No, we let that one slip, and we need to make sure we kind of remedy that. So I
Hmm.
wonder if that's kind of the extra fire they're playing with Platteville. In their one game yesterday got swept, so I think for them it's like back to the drawing board. It feels like almost a little bit for Platteville. We're just
Yeah.
still trying to figure out their identity in this tournament of how they want to play it. But this is a great spot because again, it's a newer map type. It's not like Kings Row, to where we've been playing it for years and years and
Yep.
years at this point. People are still trying to figure out this map to a degree and how they want to play it in this meta. So I think they got a chance.
Definitely, and I feel like Servasa and Flashpoint maps in general, each one is different in their own way. So either you can go more high ground, you can go more just a loop around. It's very different for each map you have to capture.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little bit different for everything, especially the opening one. Sometimes if you're on the Soj, you can jump to that high ground that's right on the point.
Hmm.
It can be a little awkward for the opposition to shoot you. But yeah, this definitely leaves up a little bit of variation here for these teams. If they want to, do a soldier instead of something, they can add a little bit of everything to this map.
Definitely, and if we want to go back to the tanks, like I've seen Orisa's plenty of time, I've seen Zarya's, Ramatra's, like anyone honestly works here. It just depends on your own tempo and how you want to work.
Yeah, it's all about like, hey, do you want to play more counter? Do you want to try and be the aggressor? Honestly, Platteville started to show like, hey, maybe we want to be more like the counter aggressive team. With
Hmm.
it worked sometimes. It didn't work enough for them to get a fight win, and not a fight win, but a map win. But it did work occasionally. I don't know if on this map they can get away with it at least early. Once you cap the point, like yeah, if you have possession of the point, you really can just play counter aggressive, and it can work really well. If you're the team trying to push in and cap the point, it can be harder said than done, right? Like it can be quite difficult to do. So I want to see here from the Pioneers a little bit of change, and I wonder as well if we'll see some more subs. Like they've been very open to subbing people
Hmm.
in and out. I wonder if we see a little bit more.
Definitely, and flexible players has always been a good thing too, of playing those counters as well. Seeing if like uh, switching off from the May to the Trace at the end of circuit, like should that have been done earlier, or was that just a pointless switch? It just always depends on like, of course, the person's skill in that type of player, but who's good against who on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a quick apologies from the casting desk. It's not right. It's Fear. Thank you, Twitch chat, for correcting that for us. Sometimes we just kind of have to give our best guess to some of these names, depending on. But we are entering in now. We do see some subs back in. Zinto is now back in for Platteville. I don't think any no changes though. From Steven's point, I wouldn't see why they would, considering how the first two maps went with this lineup. Yeah, Platteville. That's not what I thought I was gonna see. Okay, that's a little
Okay,
that's a
yeah,
little
I
more
saw the
normal for
wrecking ball for a
Platteville.
second. I'm just like, oh, we're just gonna go full dive on each side, but this is
Yeah,
gonna be interesting.
I would have respected it. It would have been a little odd. See, but no, we won't just English either here. From Lemon, they'll go back over to the Ramatra. So just this old school Ramatra rush with the Lucio and the Moira, who's been getting way more playtime. Platteville were running the Kiri instead.
Kiri has some good utilities though, the Suzu, the cleanse and everything. It does so much, and it also gives a good healing boost, I believe, as well.
Yeah, nice little instant healing. I think it's like 40 or something for that cleanse, but even as being invincible there for that second or two can be a massive. Steven's point, get to the point first, as now it is just unlocking, and Platteville.
Oh, Benny got the pick.
Okay.
Oh, Benny is just taking out their backline. Platteville might have a chance with this first point.
Zinto, I think it's 3 or 4 during that. And you see Benny as well got a couple. Platteville capping maybe some fresh air here for Platteville. Maybe some breath of life into this series.
This might be like, okay, we're all warmed up, we're ready to go. Or it just might feel like we're more comfortable like this. We're just gonna play how we know.
Yeah, don't try anything that you don't have enough experience and reps in. Just, hey, go back to All Reliable. That's the Orisa Rush and the Cassidy as well. Just a little bit of an answer to why.
Yep, Lemon is matching that Orisa. Just like, okay, Ramatra is just, we can't do it. Let's just be the horse again.
Yeah, why not? Go back to the horse. You know, Benny, the Moira does not care about your deflect. That is a rough start here for Platt.
Coming back around, getting the Orisa charge, but no one wants to step in.
Yeah, everyone was kind of keeping their distance. Waz will pick off one, and they'll get it close to 90%. So they will actually get it to 90%. It'll finish at 94, but it will be the flip going into the Pointers' favor, as they were like, we don't need to push into the Terror Surge. We're just gonna let you kind of do your thing, Cal, and focus on the rest of the team. But not a bad start for the Pioneers, and they got some ults to work with.
I believe one more fight can either go either way, Steven points, or UW-Platteville can get this next map depending if they win this battle.
Potentially massively important as that deflect almost ends the life of Fear. But for now, they'll be fine.
Kasune rush to
Kasune
push
rush.
into this. I think I heard the high noon as well, but it gets cancelled.
Yeah, nothing really comes out of it. Terra Surge as well. Doesn't really get anything out of it. This Tracer in the backline is causing a whole lot of issues. Platteville are just so split. And it will be the fight going Steven's Point's way, and maybe even the whole point.
Kiri switches to Lucio now on UW-Platteville. TMG is not feeling it. They have to step up their tempo as well.
Yeah, this was going, at least, again, better start here for Platteville as TMG tries to get there in time, but will not be able to. First point goes over to Steven's Point. Next flashpoint is unlocked, and it is massively in the favor of the Pointers. They can just, waltz right on in. It'll take Platteville a while to even get here, and Fee will have an overclock waiting for him.
Definitely, and this point specifically has so many walls and corners. Even on the point itself, it's just covered in walls. So they can either sit on the point and just bunker down and have them walk in. Or they can walk out and use the walls around as well, depending on how they want to play after this capture.
Yeah, they can kind of just play however they want, disrupt the shot in this long corridor, but Platteville say we don't really care. Terra Surge on the point.
Nope.
And this, wow, ults, and more ults.
Overclock was able to get TMG before they faint as well.
Yeah, and this is, it was a good effort from Platteville during the fight. They're still trying to get those finishing touches, but with it being both supports up, yeah, Cal is Phoenix no more. They are falling into the earth 50% and counting now for Stevens Point. You wonder if some swaps are going to start being made as
Junker Queen comes out.
Okay, so yeah, I think we missed it, but the Lucio now for TMG and JQ coming out for
Definitely,
Cal
they're going
Phoenix.
for that dive now. They just need to get rushed in and all that.
Yeah, I like that. I like just like, hey, try something new. The Orisa, as much as they wanted it to work, hasn't. But it is one fight territory. Already 90%.
Seeing the Tracer trying to get some kind of pick and value, as they just push UW-Platteville away from the point, unable to even touch, getting the team kill in the process.
Yeah, it'll be team kill and Platteville now on their final life, as this is all or nothing now. I gotta have the miniature reverse sweep in the map to start the overall reverse sweep, which can be way more difficult than it could seem, but still obviously have a chance here. And this one, as they'll start pushing in with the Deadeye in hand. Oh, well, just gets out of it.
Oof. Of course, those ult charges going to be very important. UW-Platteville very close to a couple ults, while Stephen Point is just about there, but not as fast. High Noon comes out and gets cancelled by the Javelin.
Nice little jab throw. Takes down, and that just takes down the opportunity there for Zinto, and they're just going to keep on pushing forward. No fear at all for fear as they take out TMG, and, well, a little bit scrappy, but it will be the pointers on top.
Definitely finishing up UW-Platteville on that, as they were trying to back a bit, but couldn't really.
Yeah, they couldn't tell, like, hey, do we want to push into this? Do we not want to push into this? And at the end of the day, just couldn't. And one fight away now from this potentially being the end of the series. Both support ultimates available for the Pioneers. They may have that blade, but tuck your chin. As long as they can get the beat down, it may be the finisher.
Yep. Many ults are coming out, trying to see if they can't just get a pick at all. See if this point is it's going to either send them down or continue the fight.
They will push in now. Cal Phoenix trying to go in. Benny will be able to find one. And that's big. Maybe the opportunity that Platteville needed. And they should be able to keep this series going. What a knife. Also on the Tracer.
That was nasty.
That was, okay. Maybe the spark that they were needing here. But obviously a long road to go still.
Definitely. Even if they can get this map, Stevens Point doesn't really need to rush in too much. They can take it nice and slow. Even if this map they lose, they've got the next one they can get. They just need one more map.
Yeah, they don't need to win this round. They still got 2 more flash points that they can choose from, but obviously they just want to get it done here. And now Deadeye used from Zinto again. They don't get stunned out. They're able to get one.
Whoa. Just Stephen Point falling one by one now after that High Noon was able to pick one off.
Yeah, that should be, unless we get a last second touch maybe from Tuck Your Chin, this should be the flashpoint being capped here for Platteville, and the first objective they've actually captured during this entire series. And maybe this is what changes, as it seems like Stephen Point, no, they're actually going to fight this.
They're just pushing just to get anything on the point. Oh, that pulse bomb was nasty, and is this what's going to be able to get them the point and possibly the game?
I think it's looking like it. Wads goes for 4, maybe the team kill here shortly. Lemon will take it, but that is a team kill for Stevens Point off the back of Wads. and that'll bury the hopes from Platteville. 3-0
That was
sweep.
nasty from that pulse bomb there. And there it
That
is.
was disgusting.
Congrats to
goodness.
Stevens Point for that game.
Yeah, and I think this might be the play from the very end. I wouldn't be shocked if it was. Yeah, it is. Sticks out of the Lucio and Team G runs into Zenzo when they're trying to get away. That is so unfortunate for Platteville, but it will be the 3-0 sweep that Stevens Point desperately needed to be at the halfway point of this group stage. Nice little performance from them. GG's.
Definitely. That was
man.
amazing from them. They worked very well, able to play that fast tempo and just get pick after pick, which was able to win them the game there.
Yeah, that was great there from Stevens Point, and much needed for the Pointers to keep their playoff hopes alive for Platteville. You gotta be nearly perfect, I think, from here on out if you want to try and get to that playoff cutoff. We got a few extra games that have been still going on before we send it to a little break here for the 2:45 game. UW-Milwaukee sweeps SWTC. Stout sweeps Green Bay. Whitewater and MSOE currently at 1-1. Madison is up 2-1 over River Falls. Carthage and Marquette tied at 1 apiece. And MSOE and Whitewater tied at 1 apiece. So we got a few potential bangers going around right now, but sadly for Platteville, it was just not the case today.
Definitely, and I feel like those 1-1s can go either way. So when we get more updates about that, I'm interested to see who would actually win those.
Yeah, we will have a full standings update when we come back for round 4 that again start at about 2:45 Central Standard Time. So we'll be back in a little bit. Newcasters on the desk. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We'll be back 2:45 for that round 4 matchup.